this is Sherry at djcinder.blogspot.com, and today I have a very special card to make. On January 1st, my husband and I celebrated our 22nd wedding anniversary, and I wanted to make a card to commemorate that. So let's get started. First thing that I needed was, of course, some 3-Girl Jam ribbon, and I used 2 different colors, pardon the reach there. I used Antique White and Hot Chocolate, and I did something different with it that I haven't done before, and it took me a little bit of time, but I'm going to show you how to do it, and maybe you can save yourself some time. So I used those 2 ribbons. I used the Ice Spruce Distress ink, and I'm going to set that aside because I'm still going to need that. I used From Close to My Heart, I used a P, which is our last initial, so that I could put that on the card. I'm going to use some foam squares and some quick dry adhesive. I'm also going to use from K. Andrew Design Stamps, I'm going to use the Positive Thoughts set, and the one I'm going to use is My Life is So Much Better with You in It. I'm also from October Afternoon using this set. It's called Kite Tales, and I'm actually using the one that says My Best Friend on that. And then I am going to be using the My Mind's Eye Cowboy Stack, the 6x6 stack. I had a piece of paper in my stash, in my cardstock stash, my 12x12 stash, and it's this kind of speckly, thick cardstock. I don't know where I got it. I've had it for years, but I wanted to use it because I wanted to be able to use almost the full amount of paper, or the full size of the paper for that Cowboy My Mind's Eye stack. So let's get started. Now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to prep this page. Now this is one of the 6x6 pages, and because I wanted a little bit of border to show on my card, which I'll show you here, because I cut it out at 6 inches wide on the whole width of the 12x12 page, and then I distressed around it with the Ice Spruce Distress ink. So I had to cut this down just a little bit so I would have a border. It doesn't really stand out as much as I would like, so I'm going to show you what I'm going to do to make that stand out. Probably if I hadn't distressed around it, it would have stood out, but this is going to my husband. It's not going through the mail, so it doesn't matter if it how thick I make it. So I'm going to add some dimension to that. So let's work on this part first. So grabbing my Ice Spruce Distress ink, I'm going to use my K. Andrew Design stamp, and it says My Life is So Much Better with You in It. Now this piece of paper from the My Mind's Eye stack said Celebrate Special. It's got a little bit of a little calendar here, and it's fairly masculine. And now I just have to decide, where do I want to put that stamp? I could put it down there, but I don't really want to do that. I could put it right, I think I'll put it right here on the side. So let's ink that up. And I don't know that I've used this particular stamp before, so I'm hoping that I'll get a nice clean image because I haven't practiced with it, but I should have thought of that before I started the video, huh? So that is going to go right about here. And the Ice Spruce is a really good match for this paper. I mean, I'm really surprised at how close of a match it is for the cowboy paper. So there we have it. My Life is So Much Better with You in It. So we'll just set that aside. Now I am going to set my ink aside because I'm done with that. And I'm going to show you what I'm going to do next. So I've already prepped my card here, and as I said, it's a 6x12 card. On the inside, this is where I put that October Afternoon stamp that said My Best Friend, and then I used my smash stamp, and it's kind of messy, but I had already adhered it down, and I was afraid of messing up my paper. So down here it says January 1st, 2013. A little bit messy, but it's okay. And I took another piece of the card base and cut a 5-inch square, and I inked around it, and then I adhered it to another piece from the cowboy stack that's a plaid. Now these papers from My Mind's Eye are double-sided, so I could have used the other side, which was airplanes, but this is what I wanted. So that's how I finished off the inside. And now we're going to move to the outside and put this on. So I decided what I would do is I did ink around this a little bit, but to give it some to make it stand up and give it a little bit of dimension, instead of adhering it down with my normal ATG that I use, I decided I would use some foam squares. So I've got that in place just like that. And though I don't want it falling apart, it doesn't need to be too sticky. I think I'll put one in the middle here. I thought about pulling foam tape, but I thought, well, it would be easier to use the foam squares for this, and I would use a lot less because I was planning on using quite a bit of the others. So just about done with this. And that is just going to get centered right on my card. Make sure I leave enough border. There's hardly any border around the edge because I just didn't want, I wanted this paper to show. I wanted all of the words celebrate, and I wanted the banner to still remain centered. So there's the front of the card, and you know, this almost looks like it was printed just on it. So now we're going to move to the fun decorative element of the card. So I took another piece of this cardstock and I cut, using my Martha Stewart 1-inch circle punch, I cut a circle. And then I took my Fiskars 2-inch punch and cut a second circle. And that gave me this circle. So this was the 1-inch punch, and then I cut around the outside, trying to center it as best as I could with the 2-inch punch, and that gave me about a 1/2 inch, I guess, border here. So then I took my antique white ribbon and I wrapped it around and glued it down with the quick dry, and then I did the same thing with the chocolate ribbon, only I just wanted the stripes. And the reason I did that is because there's not a lot of contrast here, and so I wanted to have enough of a contrast that the antique white would stand out. I could have inked around it, I guess, too, but I decided to just do it this way. And so to adhere that down, I'm going to take a little bit more of the quick dry. And it's not going to take much, and I've made kind of a medallion, I guess you would say, with my adhesive. Now, by the time you see this video, I will have passed my anniversary, but I wanted to get the card done so that I could give it to my husband on our anniversary. So there we go. I've just nailed that, or not nailed it, but glued it down. So there we have it, just a simple little circle, but it's not done yet. This is where my P comes in. I took my P for my ice spruce. Now, it must be about, it says it's a 1 1/4 inch circle, and I don't have a 1 1/4 inch circle punch, so I actually had to fussy cut it, or free cut around it, and it would have been better had I been able to use a circle punch, but since I don't have one, we made it work. But because this is a 1-inch circle in here, there's just a tad bit around that I can use to glue, and I'll be able to just very carefully put glue down, and I want to kind of spread it out. If I have a little too much that goes on the inside, I'm okay with that. I just don't want it coming out and messing up my ribbon. So if it goes on the inside, that's fine. I just don't want it going on the outside. But I need to have enough glue that it will be sure and stick. And that's one of the beautiful things about quick dry, is because it dries so quickly. So let's pick this up. I know I went off camera there, sorry about that. And we're just going to kind of center that over just like so, and I'm going to press it down. Hold it for just a minute. Another thing that I thought about doing was maybe putting the P on a couple of thicknesses of the foam, or I have some thicker foam, and it would have just been free floating, but I decided instead to just glue it down, and it will hold. So there we have the anniversary card that I made for my husband for our 22nd anniversary. My life is so much better with you in it, my best friend. So thanks so much for stopping by today, and both on my blog and on the 3 Girl Jam Design Team blog, and I'm really excited that you stopped by. Thanks for stopping by, and remember to take some time to enjoy the little things. Have a great day.